all you Holly Weirdos, welcome to another spooky yet magical episode of Hollyweird Brujo 101. Ay, Dios mío, what is this? Brujeria? What is this magic? Well, this is a very special and unique magic because your girl is sharing the co-host chair of Brujo 101 with Martin Moreno. You may know him. That little so-and-so. You may have seen him or heard about him on the stages of comedy with his friend Fluffy. Yes, that Martin! And he's also the co-host of the Yo 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 podcast and, of course, Brujo 101. And like Bryce, he's always busy. He's always making moves, doing moves, and breakdancing. Just kidding. But he is currently touring, and he is very busy. So your girl here is going to be sharing that co-host seat and co-hosting Brujo 101 with the fabulous and the beautiful Thanya Mercado. Yes, you've heard about her. You've heard her on the podcast. We've had her as our guest. We've investigated with her, and she is a phenomenal psychic and medium, and of course, co-host of Brujo 101, and we are just popping out these episodes for Brujo 101, so you definitely want to follow them. You can follow them on Instagram at Brujo 101 podcast, of course. And this episode is definitely going to make you laugh. It's going to make you think. It's definitely going to make you laugh while thinking and make you feel a little spooky because we talk about Brujeria, Santeria, spirituality. How many planes does Martin own? Just kidding. No, really, does he? How humble is he? And so much more. We do get spooky, as I mentioned, so you definitely want to grab that chancla or that parola fabuloso, like our friend Jonathan of Latinos That Get Spooky Shit would say. And or if you don't have those things, it's okay. You can always grab your selenite and salt because we're about to get Holly weird with Brujo 101. Hey, all you Holly Weirdos, before we jump into this episode with Martin Moreno and Thanya Mercado of Brujo 101, we have a couple of notes and thank yous that we definitely want to deliver. Some really good news. There's a lot of things in the works for us, and we're just so excited. First and foremost, Hollyweird Paranormal will have a live show November 3rd. That's a Sunday. That is the weekend of Dia de los Muertos. Yes, we are going to host the ghosts of San Fernando. Okay, here are the details. When? November the 3rd, Sunday. Where? 1984, vintage and horror. And what time? Doors will open at 6 p.m. Show starts at 7 and it will end at 9 p.m. What about tickets? Tickets will be on sale today. This is Monday. This is October the 14th, and they will be $20. You could get them on Eventbrite. If you go on eventbrite.com, type in the search Hollyweird Paranormal Ghosts of San Fernando, they'll pop up there. Or you can head on over to our Instagram at Hollyweird Paranormal. We'll be posting the QR code and the link on our stories and on our feed, of course. You can also click on our bio. There's the Linktree link, and you can definitely click on the Eventbrite link through our Linktree to purchase your tickets. Spaces are limited because this is a bit of a small vintage shop, but it is going to make for a wonderful, intimate evening of ghost stories of the 818. We also have a special guest in attendance who will be sharing some more ghost stories attached to a very popular and historical area in the 818, and that is the Andres Pico Adobe. And that special guest is the beautiful Cody from Cody Loves Horror. She's also the caretaker of the Pico Adobe, and she has a ton of ghost stories to share. As I mentioned before, the doors will open at 6 p.m., so that will give you some time to browse around the shop because the store does close around 4 or 5, but they're going to reopen it at 6 to allow our guests to shop and browse. You guys are going to spend something here. Every time I come here, I do. They have amazing vintage Halloween decor. This is where I get a lot of my Halloween decor pieces because I love shopping secondhand. I love supporting small businesses. They got some really great vintage clothing. They also have some amazing decor pieces. And I mean, the place is set up like an old mom and pop top VHS rental store. Like, that's how cool it is. And if you love posting on Instagram, there's some really Instagram worthy spots to take pictures. So that will give you time to take pictures. If you see me and Bryce, you could take pictures with us. Of course, we'll be there to greet you with abrazos, of course. And we'll also have some beverages. We'll have some snacks and some little goodie bags. We will also be hosting a little raffle towards the end of the show. Our friend Tanya over at Ashe Imports is donating a wonderful gift basket of some really delicious goodies from her shop. So you definitely don't want to miss out on it. It's going to be a fabulous time and it's going to be very spooky. So remember, November 3rd, Hollyweird Paranormal live show at 1984 Vintage and Horror in San Fernando, the ghosts of San Fernando. Okay, so you can't make it to this live show, but if you're around Sacramento, you're willing to drive an hour out to Jackson, California. This is the place that Gold Country Paracon was held. This is a very haunted town. Everywhere around there is super haunted. And it just so happens that there's another Paracon that is being hosted by Grim Life Entertainment, which will be the Spirits of Christmas. And this is going to be a fantastic event. This will be held from December 13th through the 15th. And this will be held at the National Hotel in Jackson, California. Our friends over at Grim Life Entertainment will also be hosting like a little marketplace. So there's going to be a ton of vendors there, along with some pretty familiar faces in the paranormal community. Our friends like the fabulous, the beautiful, our recent guest, intuitive Tawny Lewis, and of course our friend, the Hollywood witch, Patty Negri, and our friend Daryl Martin of Ghost Hunters, and so much more. They even have Ruth Connell from the show Supernatural. And of course, your girl here will be in attendance and will be a part of a fabulous panel. And that is going to be held at the National Hotel, the old courthouse in Jackson, California, from December the 13th through December the 15th. You can get tickets at www.grimlifellc.com. That's www.grimlifellc.com. You can also find them on Instagram at Grimlife Entertainment. That is Grimlife Entertainment. You definitely don't want to miss out on this event. Okay, you definitely can't make it to both events. Well, both of us, Hollyweird and Unison as a team, will be in attendance at the Windy City Paranormal Festival this June, this summer. This is going to be a fantastic event that'll be held in Chicago, Illinois. We are excited for this one. This one will go up June the 12th through the 14th in Chicago, Illinois. And we are just so honored and lucky to be a part of it. There's so many wonderful people that will be in attendance, like our friend, Zachariah the Witch. And of course, that old so-and-so, Tawny Lewis. Our friends at the Quite Unusual Podcast and What's Up Weirdo. What's up, Jessica Napick and John E.L. Tenney. Adam Barry, we see you, girl. There's so many wonderful people who need to be seen in this community, and we are just so appreciative of all the folks over there in Windy City. We see you, Frankie. We adore you. We adore you, of course. So if you want more information, follow them on Instagram, Windy City Paranormal. You definitely don't want to miss out on this event. It's going to be fun, and we're so excited. All right, if you love Hollyweird Paranormal, please support us. You could do it in two ways. You can head on over to Apple Podcasts, give us a 5-star rating and a written review. It helps us become a little more visible in such a congested group of podcasters. Yes, there's a ton of them out there. And look at this little, engine that could of a paranormal podcast. We definitely would appreciate the rating and the review. Also, if you want to go a little bit further, you can follow us on Patreon. You can support us through Patreon. Become a Patreon member. Patreon.com/Hollyweird Paranormal. For as little as $1 or more, you can help support the podcast for however many months you wish. We appreciate those who have supported in the past and still continue to support us today. Thank you so very much. What is included in the Patreon gift basket there? Well, you'll be automatically inducted to the Saturday Night Ghost Club Society. This is a separate podcast of ghost stories that we collect from our friends, our acquaintances, and strangers off the street, because everybody has a ghost story. You'll also be given access to some videos, such as investigations, like the one at the Queen Mary. We conducted a Nesta session, and so much more. We have a big thank you to our friend Joseph, who just recently donated. Thank you so much, Joseph, for your donation. You are so appreciated. And thank you so much for the support. Once again, that's patreon.com/Hollyweird Paranormal. If you want to stalk us, you can on Instagram and Facebook at Hollyweird Paranormal. If you want to learn more about the podcast, read our bios, you can do so on our website, hollyweirdparanormal.com. You can also follow us on X at HWP Podcast. And of course, the most important and final note, drum roll, please. We are officially 18 days, well, technically now, if you're listening, 17 days till Halloween, 18 days till Dia de los Muertos, and 71 days till Christmas, because, you know, we love summoning the Christmas spirit in every sense of the word, summoning. So we're getting close to those amazing holidays, guys. All right, now let's go on with the Spooky Show, and we hope to see you November 3rd. Take care and stay Hollyweird. Hey guys, this is Weird Brujo 101. Now we have a new name. Now we are the super group of Weird Brujos. Joining me and everyone else today, we have two collaborations. We have Hollyweird Paranormal and Brujo 101. As you guys remember, Thanya Mercado, our head witch, and Santeria. You know, we have Martin Moreno, who is like been traveling, and you guys may have seen him on stage, on television. You guys know who he is by now. Martin the comic. So we are just happy to be in unison and doing everything is spooky this month with each other. So let's get into it, guys. What's been going on?
Hola, Martin. I'm like, I don't know. Martin and I were killing some chickens a few months ago.
Lots of chickens were killed. No, going on. You know, to other 101 listeners, I know that we've been a little bit on hiatus. It's been a little bit of it's been a minute in between episodes, but we've you know, I moved, like we mentioned. I'm now in Texas, and I've been traveling. And I just want to say, first of all, thank you, Tammy, for being together and having us back online, doing this. You know, I'm tech challenged, you know, so just getting on right now is a mission for me. But thank you for running this. I tend to try to like not freaking monopolize the conversation, but I'm just so overwhelmed with everything that's been happening. You know, we did go to Cuba. I got a life reading. There were ceremonies involved. Obviously, I can't get into detail about those ceremonies. I can say there was a lot of chickens that were sacrificed, and that's all to say. A lot of things that I just that blew me away. You know, I started dabbling in this world during the pandemic, and with sage, and it escalated to dead chickens. So, but what I will say is that this trip to Cuba was, in a lot of ways, perspective, looking at things, experiencing things. I have never, you know, it's weird. Every time you have a spiritual transformation, your perspective changes. And I think that the one thing that you have to understand is that not everybody is at that place. So you can't just expect and bring everybody into that realm, because a lot of people aren't ready for it. And you have to be in that circle that is, you know, you have to be with Hollyweird people, Brujo and Bruja people that think outside the box, really. And I think that's one of the big things that I took away. More than anything, I realized that there's people out there listening who are influenced and inspired by the stuff that we talk about. Like when I heard people talking about, you know, I heard you guys talking and all of a sudden I had to get a reading, and now you're in freaking Cuba doing some, you know, some things. It's like, oh, I talk a lot of shit and I say a lot of stuff that's just, you know, whatever. But I realize that, you know, whether I like it or not, people are tuning in here for information and for things that is going to affect their life. And I think I have to take that a little bit more seriously. I'm still, but I do realize that there is a responsibility there. When I'm hearing, we heard somebody said, "Oh, Martin was on talking to Bruja. You got to go listen to this podcast." And next thing you know, these people are doing ceremonies. You realize, holy fuck, this is carrying some weight, and it's life changing things. These ceremonies that people aren't doing aren't for the weak of heart, and they also aren't to be taken lightly. So it's not one of those like when I showed up to Tanya's house talking about limpia me, limpias, right? Well, fucking limpia me, lady.
And make it snappy.
Yeah, I got shit to do. Just give me damn cleansing and let me be on my way. I had a few ceremonies done, and for the big ceremonies, there was another ceremony that I did that was a cleansing for health, and I felt something happen. There was a shift, and then they showed me the results of the thing, and I looked at this thing, and I was like I got chills up and down my spine, right? And then we took off, and I kind of just it stayed there, and moment it was extremely powerful, more powerful even I think than the reading that I got. It was just very impactful.
But I want to say, don't mean to interrupt, but just to reset the room, how did you guys meet? I think that's the thing that I feel that Thanya was your introduction to spirituality, right, Martin?
We met through fate. We met because my husband listened to Yo Yo Yo. And during the pandemic,
that's your husband to admitting to listening to Yo Yo Yo.
He listened to Yo Yo Yo, and to be honest with you, I didn't know Martin. I really didn't listen to that podcast. Like I'm not, and I was during the pandemic, I started to do sage wraps and do different things because my goal has always been to shift the narrative on Santeria. And because I was brought up in a very open home, spiritually with crystals and sage and stuff like that. And I reached out to and then actually Jerry told me, you should reach out to him. I think jokingly. And I said, yeah, I should. And he was like, oh yeah, okay. He's going to be your friend. And I said, he is. He's going to come to the house. And he was like, yeah, sure. And then I reached out to Martin and told him, hey, I do sage wraps. Can I send you one? And Martin was very nice. And then I was like, hey, and actually, do you want to come to a misa at my house? And he was in for it. And a misa is it's basically like a seance, I guess. And then he came, and
even if you would have said seance, I would have still went.
Literally, right? Literally. And then we kind of he came to the misa. He liked it. I think it was Martin, I think that everybody has something to learn from someone. And I've learned a lot of things from Martin because I used to think that things were very normal because they're in my life. Mm-hmm. And Martin one day told me, it's normal to you. It's not normal to other people. And it never really hit me because my circle religiously of godchildren is used to what I do. But then I talk to dead people. My mom talks to dead people. We make it look easy, but it isn't. And I think it has a big impact on people. And I think that you can go around in circles and where you're supposed to be is going to happen. And then we developed a friendship. And then we decided to do Brujo. And then he became my godson. And we have a very interesting relationship.
You do.
I have a lot of hats with Martin. He's my friend. And then sometimes when I see things that I think are important for him to understand as his godmother, I even go, this is me as your godmother, not like your friend, okay? I have to tell you this.
And that's fair. It's I have to be ready to accept that. And especially in a religious setting or a spiritual setting, rather. Religious.
Yeah, and I don't want to ever offend anyone but I also, my religious home has grown a lot, partially because of this, and then partially because that's my destiny, right? I have, but my mom's in my religious home has really grown, and I wear a lot of hats, and I have to tread really carefully because I have a friendship with the people who I take. If I take you on as a godchild, it's because I want you to succeed, and I see something in you that I feel drawn to, and I think it's really funny when people see Martin in Cuba, because I want to tell you that nobody in Cuba knows who Fluffy is, right? It's very rare. They don't know who Fluffy is. So then I had Papi, one of the guys who helps us, he comes and he goes, did you know Martin is famous? And I was like, is he? And he's like, yeah, he's on TV. And I was like, he goes, why didn't you tell me that the first time he came? And I was like laughing. And it's like funny because people see Martin, and when he's in religious things, he's just in religious things. Like Martin's not very like bougie or like,
No.
quickly, get me my food. Like it wouldn't, But I think it's funny when people see him and they see him focused. I think that is a side of Martin that people don't really see, that even though he does talk a lot of shit, he received what's called Mano de Orula. And as luck would have it, we have the same Ángel de la Guarda. I'm an hijo de Agayu, and he's hijo de Agayu, which shows you that there can be so many variations of the saint in a person, right? Because Agayu is the saint I have done, and Agayu is the saint that he's a child of. And we're not the same on a lot of things. But on certain things, I totally see it. Like, I'm stubborn. Martin is very stubborn. I'm very my way, and those are things that I work on daily, right? I try to be comprehensive, but that's how we met. And here we are, me and Martin, holding hands, killing a chicken.
And just to circle back, so, again, that ceremony, and look, everything does happen for a reason. I'm a firm believer in that.
Yeah.
But that ceremony that I had done, but what?
The Mano de Orula?
No, the
Paranto?
yeah. Which when I went with them dudes in the car, and
With the Babalao.
yeah, powerful at that moment. And then you go on about your life, and it just kind of it's in the back of your head. You remember it, but it kind of like, especially when I forget. And I'm bragging, but epic shit quite a bit. And so we start to just kind of fall by the wayside, to Hawaii is memorable for them because they might never take another trip. I'm on a freaking almost every goddamn week, sometimes multiple planes, multiple incredible destinations. As look what happened, immediately, back to that, I got so many things in my head. But I had some spiritual work done with a healer who also does massage about maybe a week and a half ago. This was after Cuba, and this lady I've worked with for a while, or she's worked with me, and she's very intuitive. She's a healer. My issues with intestines, she literally called it the last time she worked on me. She saw it before. I saw it before the doctor saw it, which was like, you can't, when shit like that happens, it's hard to argue that this person knows what they're talking about. Anyway, she had no idea I'd gone to Cuba, no idea about anything. So she works on me for about an hour and a half, 2 hours. And afterwards, she said, there is a protection on you and your organs. And it's very strong. She goes, I don't know what you've had done, but whoever did it knew what they were doing. Because it was done very well, and you're very protected. And then she said, the only thing I would suggest to you is do something for your bones. And I'm just sitting there with my jaw dropped because it took me back to that last ceremony and with that. But yeah. And so when she said those guys, whoever did it, whatever shaman you worked with, she called them shaman. I didn't correct her. I didn't say, oh no, those freaking santeros in Cuba, just like, she had no idea that I had done that, but she freaking felt it, or
she picked it up.
Picked it up. Thank you. How powerful this world is, people as faith and any different places. There's people that have had healings here, healings there with different prayers from different faiths, different this, different that. But I think when you start dealing with talking to the spirits and talking to these energies, you can call them gods, orishas, deities, energies, because they're all focused on a separate energy. The ocean, the fire, so many different energies that these deities are made after, right? or associated with rather. And really, again, I felt it at that moment, but for a complete stranger to call it out was just more validation that it's on the right track and that I'm not a crazy person for fucking chilling in the goddamn woods doing weekly with freaking strangers. It just, I kept saying this, a lot of this stuff is very secret. You don't say any of this. Who say it, dude? You sound like a loon. If I were to tell people the shit that I did, they think that.
But people do say it. People do say it. That's why we have to say don't say it, because we're not saying don't say it. We're saying don't say it because our religion is a closed practice and there's a lot of people who fake it. And that's why we tell you not to say it. Like, until you have a ceremony, you can't say it. But I just remembered something that's like kind of funny because you said how all things are connected. Mm-hmm. So Martin received mano de rula, and my mom, of course, she's there. And Martin was going to go out. And my mom's like, look, I'm not saying anything's going to happen to you. But she specifically said, if the car breaks down, you break your leg. Because there's a lot of energies, right? I wasn't there for the conversation. So fast forward, Martin goes out to the beach and the car breaks down.
We ended up in the freaking... First of all, how this guy drove this car with the broken freaking... the I don't know what it's called. Axle, right? Holds the tire there. This guy took turn. He's doing like all kinds of turns for this car. He's driving this freaking thing for miles up and down these roads. We are seeing some fires and stray dogs and sketch people. And I'm like, if we break down here, we're fucked. You're like, we're just like, no way, It's late as hell. It's dark. We end up in the boondocks of...
Mariana, I think.
Yeah, dude, it was insane. But anyway, I saw it like days before.
But the funny thing is, we tell people when you do ceremony, don't go out, don't drink, don't this, don't that, right? Because there's a respect for our religion, and there's a lot of energies that are going around at that moment. We're calling a lot of energy. And people are usually like, oh my God, yeah, right, I'm an adult, I'm going to do what I want. But I think in this religion, you have to understand that you are an adult. And as an adult, you should respect the rules of our home. But it's funny because my mom is so in tune with all of her things that when it happened, she's like, ay, Martin's going to think que le tiré la sal. And I was like, no. I go, it's just funny. She goes, but I told him.
Crazy.
And then when
that when we got in, and then, Otto was like, he goes, see, it's the brujas, right? It's the brujas, right? No. So we get into another car that works. And you know how like people hang shit from the rearview mirror?
Yeah.
It's a fucking bruja on a broom hanging from the rearview mirror. I'm like, are you kidding me? I think we took a picture. of the freaking...
Otto's like, I never want to come back to Cuba again in my fucking life. Poor Otto.
So coincidence get even better, right? So I get to Vegas. I flew to Vegas from
Cuba.
Like I think a day later after I got there, somebody wanted me to go do a podcast. A girl named Lana out there. And
I think I saw the clip for it.
Yeah, super cool chick. Just talks a lot of shit, right up my alley. So I was go to the studio to do her podcast, and Uber. That wasn't that Uber. Me and Chicky had found a sushi place, that had all these great reviews out in Vegas, and I said, next time we're there, we should go to the sushi place. So we called an Uber to take us to the restaurant, and pull up, and this chick is just dressed in white from head to toe. And I'm looking at her, and she's got the same bracelet that I have, right? And I looked at her and I go,
no rula bracelet.
I go, and then she started talking, and I sensed an accent. I go, you're Cuban, aren't you? And she goes, yeah. I go, ¿hablas español? She goes, sí. And I go, ¿estás toda vestida de blanco? Oh, sí, for my religion. So she just...
You're on mine too.
So she just received Santo.
She's
about to... Yeah, she's a yabo, and she's finishing, I think, her 1 year in December. So... and so I told her, I go, no shit. So yeah, she's telling me all about her thing. And then I told her that I had gone and done Mano de Rula in Cuba. She goes, why'd you go to Cuba? She goes, you can do it over here. It's you know, blah, 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 and yada, yada. And she goes, for Santo, I get it. Because it's like, I go, listen, it's a long story. I just went to fucking Cuba to do it, right? And so she's just going on and on about how it changed her life, how this, how that. And I'm like, how in the fuck do I get the freaking chick and I just seen the Yabos over there just because there's a few people that did something. I'm looking at this lady and I'm like, it's so like once you're in something, it's like when you buy a car, right? And now every time you drive, you see the same car in the street. You might never have noticed it in your life, but all of a sudden there's a shift on the PT Cruisers out there, you know?
Now you're gonna notice everybody who wears a Mano de Rula bracelet.
Yeah, for sure.
And then you're gonna notice when people have it on the wrong hand, and you're gonna know they're full of shit.
Interesting.
Because that happens to me all the time. But
now, Martin and Thanya, for a lot of our listeners too, like they're gonna confuse like a main thing, I guess, here is there is a difference between a bruja and a santera, or brujo and a santero, correct? Or they are in some way like in unison working together, or are they considered the same?
So I can answer that, but I'll answer it first and then I'll give you my answer.
Okay.
I think that bruja or brujo was just a term that was used for anybody who used any form of energy, manipulated energy, and that was supposed to be a derogatory term. You know, it could be a shaman, it could be an herbalist, it could be anything.
I agree.
And Santeria is a religion. We're a religion. So in Santeria, we have rules, regulations, ceremonies, and things that we abide by. I think anybody can be a brujo or a bruja. I think you can make moon water, burn sage, and you'd be a brujo. I think that there's a discipline when you follow a certain sect, right? And everything's a cult, right? So the cult of Santeria, there's the cult of Diana, there's the cult of, different things, but I think that people would call me a bruja. That's the layman term for what I do, right? I'm a bruja. Martin, now he has Mano de Rula, he has a leques, he has a Rula at his house, he has a leguan. He's a brujo now, full on. He's a brujo.
Oh, I've been a brujo.
What, was he a brujo before? Was he a brujo? Yeah, was he a brujo before? For sure, right? You're a brujo before, but now you follow a tradition. So I think that's the difference.
I to just add to that, that's 1,000% the way I was what I was thinking. Anybody that's not following, during the colonization of the planet, when everybody was trying to Christian, when these Cristianeros were out there trying to Christianize people, and beating religion into them, the natives were called savages with no faith, and they had to, put this religion in them, and their practices were considered witchcraft, were considered pagan. Anything that wasn't part of the church immediately got branded as, again, even something as simple as healing with herbs, una bruja.
Yeah.
And herbs, have been known to heal and cure.
And they play a big part in Santeria too, and in ceremony.
And places they do, even the act of saging. Sage is a disinfectant. It does clean. It by definition, it cleans. It's not just a spiritual cleansing, but it's a bacterial cleansing of everything that's around. So yeah, I think that people, anybody that is, if you read tarot cards, you're considered a bruja. If you read somebody's palm, you're considered a bruja.
If you put an EVP machine and talk to dead people, tell me you're a bruja.
And if you kill children, you're definitely a freaking bruja. So I think that there is a distinction, obviously, but what is a bruja? We've got this. If you really try to define witch, what is a witch? Somebody that does, what is a prayer?
Incantation.
What is a prayer for healing if it's not a ritual form? You're putting faith into the equation, and you could think brujeria, really. So
I I do think this is to kind of go back to the girl who you met in Vegas. There's a lot of Santeros in Vegas, by the way, because there's a lot of Cubans in Vegas.
Wow.
But I do get asked a lot that same thing. Why do you go to Cuba? You could do it here. I do it here. I do Mano Lula here all the time with Babalaos I know here. I keep going to Cuba because I have a whole group of people in Cuba who work the religion traditionally that I'm comfortable with. And the spirituality in Cuba, to me, has always felt more focused.
Yeah.
And besides that, I have a lot of people who I help. So here we live in a country that has a lot of possibilities. And there's even the government if you need help, right? You can get government help. And in Cuba, the possibilities are very thin. So even though my godchildren have to suffer a little, because Cuba's not like here at all, right? And they don't really suffer, but there are commodities that you don't have. I feel like you can go without certain things. You can go without Starbucks and McDonald's for 7 days, and you're really helping some people out, you know? The impact that I make in people's lives by me being there 15 days is an impact that I see the ripple through the end of the year. There's people sending me messages who are still wearing the clothes that I took them, are still eating the cereal bars that I left them. And it's been 3 months because I take a lot of stuff. I mean, we take probably, between my godchildren and I, we probably took probably about 500.
Has it been 3 months, Thanya?
It's this trip, it's been a month. It's been a month this trip. The Yavos are a month old on the 4th. So, but I have people who will still do it. Like I just talked to Danny, who's like my right hand there. And she was just able to fix her bathroom. She hadn't been able to fix her bathroom and have a toilet seat and do all these things until she met me. Now she's fixing her kitchen. So yeah, you can definitely do it here. One, there's a lot of people who don't practice the religion the way it should be here. And two, I make such an impact over there. Even for the kids, it's crazy. So if you ask me, I'm always going to go to Cuba.
You know,
and that's where a lot of the, like you said, the traditional santeros, like
Yeah,
that
and
is where you really are practicing.
let's go to Africa, right?
So I've been asked if I would go to Africa. So I would go to Africa to visit. I would not do ceremonies because they're Isisi, which is a different sect of my religion. And I don't speak African. I speak a little bit of Yoruba. And Santeria is already hard to understand. So, and this is a cash business. And I don't trust humans. So I would not go to Africa and do any ceremonies. But
You don't like
I've been going to... You better tell everybody that half my people in Cuba are black, Martin. You better tell them.
So tell us why you don't like Africans.
I didn't say that. I said I wouldn't go to Africa.
You kill chickens and they eat cats.
Those are the Haitians. And as a disclaimer, my sister's married to a black Cuban. I'm not racist. So
I have a black friend.
But I just think I have 3 black friends. Where's G. Riley when I need him? I have to. But the impact that you make is like crazy, right? And the Cuban situation from last year to this year, ask Martin, it's gotten a lot worse.
You know, after I got home, I was thinking about how it has gotten a lot worse out there. But I don't know why I was so surprised that it has gotten so bad out there. Because in the United States, I travel all across the country, and to see how dire the situation is in the streets, we've got zombie lands out there, dude, where you've got people out there, that are, it literally like the zombies in the movies. They're coming after you, looking for food, looking for shit, looking for things, and they're coming with a limp. A lot of them are unkept. Their hair is ratty. Some of drugs where their flesh is literally falling off. We're literally witnessing zombies in the United States, across the world. And when you see in Cuba how desperate they've gotten, you see people digging in trash, where I didn't see that the first time I went. You see people just desperate, hanging out anywhere that there's a tourist. And it's I understand the desperation and I understand the need, But even when you go shopping, they have these indoor outdoor kind of almost like a flea market type of a thing where you can go buy souvenirs. But when you walk by there, everybody in every stand, hey, come here, look at this, blah, blah, blah. And it makes you not want to go there. It makes you just not, it's, a thing to say, hey, can I help you? You're looking for anything specific? But when they're literally hounding you, and
the desperation is like
correct, and I get it, and I understand it, but it's a turnoff. You come off, to, like the kids say, thirsty, and that nobody wants to deal with that, and you're like, you know what? Let me just get the fuck out of here. It's not worth it. Around here. You go to the old Havana, the spots there. There's people posted up outside, ready to ask you for a handout, ready to ask you for something, and they will follow you and be aggressive with asking. But Austin, downtown Austin, and it's the same thing. It's a zombie land at nighttime. It's LA. It's a zombie land. When you go down to downtown LA and you try to walk around, good luck. You're literally it's a zombie land. So I'm not, and this is most one of the richest countries on the planet, arguably, right? So to see it here, of course it's happening in Cuba and God knows where else. There's a reason people are flooding the border, right? Because it's so dire everywhere on the planet. And
I think, I'm sorry to interrupt you. I think what happened to this time, I think it just looks so dirty. Like I had never seen Cuba look so dirty. I've been going there for more than 20 years. I've never seen Cuba look so dirty. Like they're leaving the trash on the corners and the government isn't picking it up. So it's piling up. It's making rats, mosquitoes. There's cases of dengue and malaria have gone up, I think, by 30%. Like I went to do a ceremony and I was laughing because I was like, this is how Martin feels. I went with the Babalaos and they took me to like a monte, like a little hill. Yeah. And it was just me and them. And I was like, okay, I've seen this on a few TV shows. Sometimes it ends bad, right? So we're there and the mosquito situation, my mom was with me and Danny's like, get your mom in the car because she cannot get dengue. Ooh. She cannot get dengue. You have to get her in the car. And when we got to the house, we took off all of our stuff because we dress in layers. We took off all of our like top layer, left it there, and we're literally walking in the house in like biker shorts and a sports bra because we're trying not to get dengue. And I think that the sacrifice that people make, both the Cubans, myself, the people who go, everybody's sacrificing something to get these ceremonies done. And I think that when the ceremony is for you, of course you have to sacrifice, right? Yeah. But I think also what I was explaining to my two yabos was that's why this religion also will break your heart, because you will help people and the people will be so ungrateful that it literally breaks your heart. And I think that the humanity that I've seen is like both heartwarming and heart-wrenching. And it's just crazy for me to see people who go to Cuba and see the necessity, or go anywhere. I imagine they're like that anywhere, and see the necessity and just don't give a fuck. They're just in their own bubble. Like, that is crazy. I had the kids, the house I stay in has a very long corridor to get to the house. There's a lot of kids. I had the kids who were in that corridor come to me every morning to eat and to get candy. And then the owner of the house told me, if you keep doing it, they're never going to stop. And I said, well, I leave in 3 days, so I guess it stops in 3 days. Yeah. What is the
if it's kids that are hungry, like, how do you?
Yeah.
I mean, anybody per se. Like, it's one thing to ask for money, but when people are asking for food.
Ooh, food is different. Yeah.
An animal, dude. Like, because there was back in the day, there was people out there that just wanted to get loaded and they're asking for food, and you give them cash and they go buy a bottle, right? Or you try to give them food and they're like, no, I don't want no fucking food. I want money. But when you're saying, hey man, just give me a fucking sandwich, and if you have it, yeah, you just give it to them. I mean, how do you not? It's see somebody hungry.
I mean, but but people don't.
Yeah.
Well, people don't.
There's some people that do and don't.
But there's people that, how many people are in that island in a position where they can give the food that the little that they have for themselves?
No. I don't think that anybody in Cuba can, but I think that all the tourists could.
The tourists, yes, for sure. I'm sorry. Yeah. Tourists.
Yeah. It's definitely the tourist situation. But I want to ask you something. So I want to explain something. So when you get a rula, you get a life reading, and that reading is for the rest of your life. The only time it changes for a man is if he becomes a babalao. So Martin's reading is for the rest of his life. It talks past, present, future. Without getting into details, do you feel like your reading, things have already started to happen from your life reading?
I think so. Well, basically the stuff that you hear, right? You could either take it and be like, fuck it. Or you could take it and be like, what can I do about this? What can I do to make this part better? What can I do to put this part better? So it gives you different perspectives for sure. Not to diminish it or anything, but it's like when you go get a tarot card reading, right? The card tell a story, and they tell this story that you can apply in any way, shape, or form to things that are going on in your life, and it'll give you different idea. Oh, you know what? I can handle it this way, or I can handle it this way, or I can handle it that way. Versus when you're just locked in your own head, and it seems like this is the only avenue. I think that insight is beneficial to anybody that needs to make decisions, and it helps just with life, period. Because it's very hard to step out of the immediate and look at it from here, look at it from here, look at it from all angles, every dimensional, and to think that we've solved anything by looking at it in a certain way is very limiting to your outcome.
And now, have you had any individuals approach you in the past or currently, Martin, that have said some negative things about your journey into spirituality and your journey as a brujo/santero? Have you ever had to come face with that?
Send me their names.
So I think that the biggest clip that Be Real put up, I did an interview with Be Real. A few months ago, less than a year for sure, and about faith and Santeria, and the Virgen de Guadalupe came up, and I had some opinions, and I put them out there. They weren't negative in any way, shape, or form, and Catholicism came up in the conversation. If you go through the comments, there's a shit ton of people, and in retrospect, I didn't address all of them because I'm not crazy. Thanya did, I think. But I'm not going to go back and forth with people.
I'm not crazy either. They
waste of time. Complete waste of time.
But they started, their displeasure, telling me that this was all Satanist shit. This is all witchcraft. This is this. This is that. And I think they meant well, because they're in their belief system. A lot of these were very religious also, and in their faith, they have to speak out against things that don't go with what because then they have to stop people from going to hell. They think that they're doing the right thing, right? And so start just interjecting and saying you're going to go to hell. You how that through Jesus Christ and to believe in salvation, and if you don't do that, everything else you're going to hell. And so I got a lot of that. You need to put this away. You're messing with the devil. You're messing with witchcraft. So negative stuff usually when on a platform like Be Real has a big giant platform, So it's people feel when they're behind a keyboard to talk all the shit they want. In real life, I don't think whether they believe that I'm crazy or not, nobody's really shit on me for it. I haven't lost relationships. I think more people are losing relationships for political affiliations right now. There's people that if you vote for Trump, you can't be my friend. If you vote for freaking this one, just lose my number. I think divisive at this point than anything.
Mhm.
I think it's funny that the people, when you went on Be Real, were talking shit because Be Real's a Babalao and has been in Santeria for more than 20 years.
I was going to say that too, because isn't he one that's
He's-
practicing the same?
Sure.
Yeah, he's a Babalao.
They were
He's a
talking
Babalao.
shit to the both of us. It's not like it was just.
Yeah, they were talking shit to Be Real too. And I saw, and of course, I started to argue because that's in my nature. And it was funny because like then Be Real and I were arguing with the same person. And then I was like, you know what? This is just a waste of my fucking time. And I'm giving this person 5 minutes of fame who really in my world is nobody. And I shouldn't be anybody in their world either. And then I saw Martin after that. And Martin's like, I saw you arguing. Just stop. You're not, it's not, you're not going to win because.
You're not going to.
Yeah, their tunnel vision with their beliefs. And that's something too that I've had to debate too on my TikTok and other pages that like, oh, you're talking to demons when you go and do your paranormal investigating. You're using a Ouija board. You're communicating with demons, but then you don't say that when I'm using tarot cards, a pendulum, or even like the voice box when I'm doing the Estes session. How is that different from anything else than when I'm just using the Ouija board? You know what I mean?
I want to say the fact that Martin is my godson is because that's the way that Olofi Gone had it planned, and that's where we're at. But I don't hang out with my friends and tell them convert. Like Tammy's been my friend for a while now. I never once have told her, get a lekes, do this, do that. Because 1, I have not felt that spiritually. 2, she's my friend. I'm not here to convert her. If my friend tells me I want a reading and you get a reading, I'm going to tell you what comes out of the reading. What you do, choose to do, or don't do is on you. There's a fallacy when people think I'm the one after people to get things done. People ask me for things, because it has to be organic. Because in something.
To add to that, when I was sitting there talking to a lot of the people that were there, I mean, listening to them. And not to throw anybody under the bus, but they come to you like little freaking, sucking on a titty, man. Like they just, like they're like, it seems like they're very needy, these freaking guys, on every little thing. And it's like, and I try not to, because I know you have so many people wanting stuff that unless I'm like, just I don't want you with things, because it just seems like you've got, and this, again, this is just from listening to some of the people that were there. You are just in your ear on a regular basis. And look, at the end of the day, it's what you signed up for, because you are the godparent. You are the spiritual mother in a sense, whether it's God or the title doesn't matter. A mother where these people feed off of. And that takes a lot, and it's got to be emotionally and physically draining on your. I mean, saw that you were up until 5 a.m, 6 a.m, and then back up again at 9 o'clock. I mean, round the clock, you guys were working, and still have to keep it together. An hour sleep. I kept it together.
It's hard,
but it's very, and I function like that. I function like that a lot, so I know how hard it is. But when you add I function like that, and I'm out there having a couple of drinks, making people laugh, and yeah, it's draining and it's hard. But when you are out there doing the work of spirit work, it's got to be way more freaking draining, and your brain and on your body.
So well, I want to say this: none of my godchildren bother me. That's the truth. They don't bother me. If it was ever a situation where they need me, they'll message me, and I'm pretty responsive. None of them bother me. People being on me, I'm so used to it because I did sign up for it, and they don't want to make a mistake, and they want to be respectful, because respect is a big thing in my house, and they want to be respectful. But what I will tell you that does bother me, because once I'm on 3 hours sleep, when people want to go around in circles about the same thing because they want to do what they want to do. In my mind, I feel like just do what you want to do. That's fine. But then don't expect my reaction to be one of like, oh, I can't believe that happened, when I'm telling you it's going to happen. Because ita, readings, etc., they happen. In our religion, they say lo que está escrito no se borra. What you write doesn't erase. So if Orula tells you today you're going to break up with your partner, today is 2004. Mm-hmm. Maybe it takes a year. Maybe it takes 6 months. But you're going to break up. Guaranteed. I had somebody come to me and tell me, I want you to listen to what I'm telling you. I'm telling you the truth. And I had read them and they were not telling me the truth. And I said, I understand you. And I'm going to say, I understand everything you're telling me, but I'm going to tell you, I believe Elegua. I believe the Orisha because the Orisha has no reason to lie to me. And it doesn't move me either way. I'm just telling you what you need to do for your benefit. I'm very fortunate that a lot of my recent godchildren have wanted to learn. A lot of my godchildren went to Cuba on this trip to learn and to work. And I even told them at the end when I wasn't busy how proud I was of them because they don't get paid. They spend their money to learn, which they can use later in their own life. But they're focusing their energies for your ceremonies to come out okay. Like Mano de Rula requires, in my home, 3 babalaos, plus an apatadbi, plus this, plus that. And everybody's focusing their energy for you. You know what I mean? So the questions don't bother me. I'm very good with the question. It is exhausting. When I get back from Cuba, I'm like, can I just get a week to not do shit? And it never works out. By day 3, I'm already doing shit. But I feel like the older I get, the more I realize the things that Orisha is bringing to me that are so important and that have nothing to do with money. I don't know if you guys understand, but my life is so peaceful. I just had a conversation with somebody yesterday and they were like, I have a problem. And I said, oh, you have problems? That was my reaction. And they were like, are you being funny? I was like, well, I don't see it like a problem. You feel like you have problems or don't you have problems in your life? And I was like, no, I have situations that I need to decide so that I can be more abundant and, cut cords or whatever. But I don't feel like I have, if you ask me, I have no problems. And I think there's a lot of people who are like, she's full of shit. Everybody has problems. But my perspective on things has completely changed. And every day it changes. And every day I'm trying to be a more patient and tolerant person because I realize that there are people fighting battles that you cannot see. And sometimes those battles are very deep and the scars are very deep. And sometimes a person just wants you to be that person to listen, to be that mom, to be that godparent, So my godchildren don't bother me. The only thing I get bothered by is when people go in circles with me and I'm like, what a waste of time. I got 20 people waiting for me. You're wasting my time with this bullshit. Like, I don't got time for this. And I'm quick to tell you if I don't like something. And I get over it quickly. Ask Martin. I'm like, don't do this. Okay. And then I move on. I don't hold grudges. I'm not like, oh, you did this and now I'm upset. What? We're not 5. Don't do this. I didn't like it. Let's move on. And that's how I like people to be with me. If you told me this, I didn't like it. Let's move on.
Mm-hmm. And you're right. Perspective is everything. What some people look as a problem, other people look as a circumstance, something to be dealt with. I don't think that a lot of people can get to that state of mind. It takes a lot of growth and a lot of experience and to get to that perspective. I think that most people shut down with the smallest little thing. A lot of people shut down. Like, and and you just look at them and you're just like, motherfucker, that's stopping you? You got no chance. You got, and we've got it right now that their default is, oh my God, I can't even with this. And they shut down. They shut it. It's not like they are dealing with it or they're not dealing with it. They don't even want to freaking address it. They just, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to nothing. I can't even.
How many people don't even want to drive? Right there. A lot. How many people don't want to drive? Because they don't want to deal with the responsibility of driving.
The reality, I heard something years ago with the whole thing with situations and problems is that you are the creator of your universe. Whatever situation you find yourself in, you pretty much are the creator of that. Circumstances that happen that you have no control over, but you have control over how you react to them. How you react to whatever situation is at hand is 1,000% up to you. And so when you start realizing that you're in charge of either letting it be what it is or changing it, that's why that AA thing is so powerful, to accept the things you cannot change and to freaking change the ones that you can. There's shit that you can't change. You can't change the weather, but you could put a tarp over your fucking head, so it's what do you have the fucking balls to go out there and do what is needed to do when you're capable of making that change? Because it's easy to just sit there and say wah wah wah. There's a lot of wah 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 that happens, and people are victims of their own reality. Everybody thinks that we always think if somebody does something, we think that we know the reason why they did it, and then all of a sudden we create that reality. But to freaking think that you can figure out what we all have a billion thoughts going through our brain. The fact that you think you could isolate a thought of this person's actions, you're out of your fucking mind. You're creating that reality, not them. You're creating it. Whatever the hell you believe, you give reality to, and then you feed off of that reality and you keep going forward with it. When the truth is, the only thing that you are really in control of is how you think about it. Not how you don't know how anybody thinks about shit. It's impossible to know that.
Plus, I think you have to know when to cut bait, right? Like people go around in these circles in these situations that are not going to change, not with 20 baños, not with 3 limpias. No. Sometimes you're in a situation, as a bad example, my baby daddy cheats on me, cheated on me for 4 years. He's not going to stop at year 5.
Yeah.
No.
Oh, well, I feel like this is my karma. I'm paying a karma with him. There's a book, and in the book that I read by Dr. Brian Weiss, it says, there is karma, and at a certain point you cure it, and all you're doing is torturing yourself.
Yeah.
So at what point did you cure that karma? You came into my life, I had a karma with you, whatever, I paid it, and now I'm just torturing the shit out of myself. So at some point...
They thrive off of, woe is me. There is, wah, feel sorry for me, I'm such a bit. People have this victim mentality that without it, they're lost.
Well, that
there's people that exist.
That is not something you can fix with tarot cards or an EVP machine or yerba or anything. Spirituality is meant to come into your life to bring a peace into your life. And that peace is not necessarily going to translate to the people who you're with.
No.
Yeah.
Because
I feel like sometimes people need an actual therapist than spirituality.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think, and the line between mental health and spirituality is very thin. So you have to be very cognizant as a godparent. What can I help with? And what does this person need to be on medication for?
Yes.
Tammy. Mm-hmm. Now you're out there ghost hunting. I saw some in your clips. And boy, oh boy, are you freaking rousing up some freaking espíritus out there, bro. I saw you walking into this, where it's like the whole block is haunted or some shit.
Yeah, in Upland. I went to Upland. Yeah, Upland, California is really one of my favorite towns. And I've been going there for several years because my company works with a costume house there. Mm-hmm. And anytime I get a chance to go to Old Town Upland, I do. And it seems like that one block of businesses, there was like a tattoo parlor, a hair salon, and now there's a photography studio and Rad Coffee. I spoke with Jade, the owner of Rad Coffee. She's like the CEO of it. And she's like, oh my God, my workers have seen this man. And it turns out that this man is also seen in other businesses. And when I went to the universe, just put me on Molly Super's, this little cute deli there, this little restaurant. I met this owner, I think his name was Jerry, of a photography studio. And he was like, oh, I own this studio. And I asked him hey, since it's on 2nd Avenue, do you have experiences? And he sure enough did. And he told me about all of his experiences. I'm not a psychic or a medium, but when I went inside that studio, I was like, there's a male presence in the back. He's like, how do you know? I'm like, I could just feel it. Like, it's just very palpable for me.
So
He's like, yeah.
can I cut you off right there?
Sure.
And I was hoping you would say that, because this is the question that I was actually kind of like, this is the question I really wanted to ask. Do ghosts have gender?
Here we go.
Are they?
Because
No,
you felt the
who
male
was it?
presence. What made it a male presence?
Who was the singer? There was the singer that was like, no, they're not ghosts. They're spirits.
Mm-hmm.
They're spirits. And there's another one that she said, like, they're not aliens. They're extraterrestrial. Oh, Demi Lovato.
Say male, and I'm like, okay, you toxic motherfucker. How do you know it's a male? How do you know it doesn't identify as a she? What made it a male presence? I think I don't know. I think it's a fair question though. Why is it a male presence versus a female presence?
I mean, it's more domineering and very dominant, and it's something that also businesses have seen. Like, they've seen this man in a suit, a very tall man in a suit coming in, and they see the face, they see a very stocky and very masculine image. It's something too, like, people say, like, they've seen a man, like, they've just seen this man in a suit, and he's old. He has, like, I think they've mentioned he has a beard or something. And then they feel like a child presence, which is something that is very reminiscent of that area too, because there was like a fire that occurred years ago, and I think it had taken a couple of people's lives during that time. So I think like that's pretty much what people have claimed that they felt and that they seen, like, is a very dominant and very like kind of aggressive presence, built like a man. That's what they've said. And it has like actual male features. So that's pretty much what I go base off of each and every account.
Martin likes to stir the pot.
Yeah.
I'll put a spoon everywhere I go.
Literally. I'm gonna get you a spoon for Christmas. A big ass wood spoon. Stir in the pot.
Have you taken the I don't know the terminology, but that box to try to talk to it?
No, it was on a whim. I was there for work, and I met this gentleman, and I was like, can we come back and have something here? Can we host an investigation here? And he was like, yeah, just let me know when. Like, he does so many things in his gallery. So trying to kind of wrangle him in to see if we could, come in a little late. I know Matt just like texted. He's like, when are we going to go to Upland to investigate? So yeah, like that is something I definitely want to do. We need to do an investigation very soon. When was the last time all of us had done one? It was Space City Vintage. And then before then it was Sassafras with Spooky Food.
I will tell you that Space City Vintage was definitely like, whoa. I felt Sassafras was powerful. Well, they were both powerful in their own way. And again, like I'd never been on a little ghost hunt type of a thing. And man, it's most people hear there's a ghost and they don't want nothing to do with that place. And here we go calling people up. Hey, there's ghosts. Let's go fuck with them. I mean,
yeah, you gotta find a spooky place by your house.
Oh, I'm sure New Braunfels is super old.
I know. It's a very old town, and you have the caverns there, the caves, and Lord knows what's around there.
Yeah, no.
You have a cryptid.
It's it's an old German town. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of German roots here. Is by name, the name itself. And a lot of the old establishments here have German roots. The biggest water park, one of the biggest water parks in the world, is here at Schlitterbahn.
Schlitterbahn, yeah. I remember going there when we lived in Texas. My mom used to do a lot of business in New Braunfels.
Yeah, where did you live in Texas?
We lived in Spring, Texas, which was in northwest Harris County. It was more northwest in Houston. Okay. And I never wanted to go back there. It just lacked a lot of personality. Coming from a city like New Orleans, there's so much culture and color, and people were just more laid back. But I found, like, I don't know, Houston is a different vibe. It's a different beast. And people, I find there have more of a chip on their shoulder than anything anywhere else. And then I go to San Antonio, and Austin is completely different. But for some reason, Houston is just chaotic. That's the best way I could think
I
of.
couldn't
It's
agree
just,
with you more. I feel the same way about
yeah.
Houston. Nothing but love for the people in Houston, but it is very chaotic. Absolutely. When you were out
Yeah.
by Houston area, did you ever check out Lake Livingston?
Yeah, I
That
have.
place is pretty
And
awesome.
it's a like Conroe, like Livingston. I've, traveled all around there. And I don't know, the to me, in my opinion, the traffic in Houston is far worse, way worse than any traffic I've ever experienced.
Yeah.
I will deal and sit in the 405 anytime, any day if I could
That's
avoid sitting
like,
in the I-45 in Houston.
wow. Wow.
Yeah, it's bad. Even my husband, when he traveled there 2 years ago, he's like, I hate it. Like the moment we drove into Houston, he's like, I hate this. It's just nothing but just billboards and massive malls. Like we saw this Chinese buffet that was like, it was like a buffet that was like the size of 2 football fields. It was this massive building that was just food.
Wow.
So it's just a lot of consumerism and consumption. It's very odd. It's a weird place.
I'm in. Let's go. No, I'm just kidding.
But places like where, Martin is at, and like, if you go to Austin and San Antonio and all these other towns way outside, like it's so much better in my opinion. Like
It's so chill.
it's a different vibe. Like my husband and I really almost wanted to move to San Antonio, but it wasn't our time yet. I think we still have time here in Los Angeles before we make a move out, within a couple of years or more.
That's okay. And the kids and Hooter came over, and we're chilling in the back. We had put some stuff on the grill. We're having a beer. We were out in Tucson for a wedding. We're chilling in the back, and it's just so peaceful and quiet. And Tucson's not a big town per se, but Hooter's wife was like, I couldn't wait to get back here. Like, this is just so much more. The pace is way slower. You find yourself with, you're not, if you have to travel somewhere, if you have to go get something, LA, and it's going to take you a few hours sometimes, depending on the location and the time, where here, typically you could drive anywhere in 10, 15 minutes.
Exactly. That's what I miss.
When they told me, oh, you do Costco? Yeah, you're going to have a commute. That's going to be rough. Fucking 25 minutes away, dude. I mean, it would take me 25 minutes to get to the freeway from my house sometimes.
Yeah.
Full traffic, So the perspective is a lot different. The time that you were sitting in traffic, you get that time back. And for somebody like me who travels like I do, that time is bigger than most people realize, because when your time is limited and now you're spending hours a week stuck in traffic, that becomes days in a month's time that you don't get back. And I think that's been one of the biggest changes that I've felt, is that you get your time back. I'm still busy, but get that time back. And it's that's been a big like one of the biggest things that I've noticed is the time and the quality of that time and the chillness and the, not yet. It's affecting everywhere, but I haven't seen anybody in the Braunfels begging for money or on the street. I haven't seen one encampment here. You'll see it in San Antonio, and you'll see it in Houston for sure.
In Austin too, yeah.
But it has not here, and that's pretty fucking fortunate. I don't know how long that'll last, but it feels good. I was mentioning about Zombieland. You walk in somewhere, you're trying to like avoid people because they're just coming at you, and then you finally get into the market or wherever you're going, and it's almost like a safe place, right, where they can't get in here. We're all in here, and then you're figuring out, okay, which way do I go, not to deal with the fucking zombies. To talk shit, not to diminish them, but I'm homeless. It's a mental health crisis that we have. It's a drug crisis and a mental health crisis. And as long as we keep calling it a homeless problem, we haven't even addressed the real problem. How in the fuck is that going to get fixed? I don't care how much money you throw at homelessness. Homelessness is not the problem. Mental illness and drug addiction are the problem.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not an easy fix. And maybe that's why they keep calling it homelessness. But but that's a disservice to the people that are out there because they need help. They need help. These are mental health patients that are running around without medication, without treatment, and it's not just to them but to us as well.
Yeah.
And
absolutely. I mean, that's like that everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I see. When I went to Philadelphia, I went to go visit, more haunted places, but there's one place that people were like, you got to stay clear of. And I was like, what is it? They're like Zombie Alley. I'm like, is that like a haunted theme or like a haunted like commercial house? Or like, no, it's where you'll see it. Like, just Google it, just Google the videos. And it was just a video of individuals who are houseless and on the streets. They're doing that one drug that eats your skin.
Right.
And you see them, they look like zombies. They're just like walking into walls. They're, leaning forward. And that was like, when people asked me, what was the scariest place you went to in Philly? I was like, I didn't go anywhere. I was told from what the looks of it, it looks like Zombie Alley. Like I said, like the living can scare me more than the dead. And what we do to ourselves, where we allow to, for ourselves to lack that control, like you just see it right there. It's really scary.
Yeah, no, it's sad. It really is sad. And, a lot of the mental places, a lot of the facilities, were saying, oh, well, they're mistreating them and they were doing this, they were doing that. And I can see that there's parts of that for abuse, but by the same token, they need to revamp that and create a place where these people can get help. Because the streets is not it. And again, it's making it dangerous for regular people to just walk around because you've got somebody out there that'll just freaking start swinging or attacking, and you have to defend yourself.
Yeah.
And it's, anyway, we went for freaking social here on Brujas and things.
But let's go.
This last 5 minutes made me sad.
Yeah. Let's jump into this topic because people wanted to know, especially from the postings that I made in the past, but people really wanted to know like what you felt at Space City Vintage when they saw you. I mean, we were posting clips and stuff. Also, another thing that I'll send to you guys, but both Ansley and I, when we went there, I think it was a couple months ago, we caught an EVP, a clear EVP of a man saying, I do. After Zachariah the Witch asked what was there, if he likes scaring people, you hear it clear as day, both on Ansley's camera and then on my camera, you hear I do.
Well,
and I remember, you on video, Martin, like you were feeling many things. Like it affected you that first trip when we all went there, and it was you and Thanya. Who else? Was it Matt? Or no, it was just Ansley and Nathan.
Ansley, Nathan, you, me, Martin.
Yeah, no. And talking to the guy that worked there, he had all these stories that were just like, you can't make that shit up, right?
Yeah.
But I definitely felt something there. And I have this thing, but I get chills from head to toe sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
And it when I was a child, we had this tree with it's a plant that grows into a tree, but this tree was big. It was a big tree. God is the name. It looks like a rose. I have this tree and I stand under the tree. It's a child, we're talking a kid, and from head to toe, I'd be frozen with chills under this tree. And I snap out of it and I run to the front of the house and I'd be like, okay, I'm never doing that again. I think that was God. This is, with my little mind is all that I could deduce. And I tell myself I wouldn't do it again, but then I would go back there and do it again every once in a while because that feeling of that energy, it was like an energy rush, literally from head to toe. And I still use that flower now. Every time I use it, sleepy ways. Like it reminds me of my mother and my grandmother. But that feeling, when we were in that place, I got that feeling again, where from head to toe, I felt that when we were in the at that bar. Forget the name of that bar. Same thing in there, and then that thing started saying, the singing and the bar. I felt like my dad was talking to me at that freaking bar, which was pretty freaking crazy. But yeah, it's one of those things that it's very, when dealing with the stuff that I got in Cuba, when I start, it's gonna sound crazy, but I start talking to the dude, and immediately I start feeling things, and it's like almost like I'm like he's talking back, like, okay, no, not this, yes, this, and it's like it's a very difficult thing to describe without sounding like a lunatic, but there is definitely a communication with this, with this deity, this entity, this I don't know what to even call it, but I feel it, and it's something that I can't explain or describe. You just have to, if you've either experienced it or you haven't, it's just very hard to put into words.
Mm-hmm. That place was great. That place was crazy because it has a lot of history. It's been there a long time. The owner has a lot of spiritual things going on, and then the people who rent the spaces have a lot of spiritual things going on. And that's where I thought Martin grabbed my leg, remember?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Martin grabbing my leg. And I like, why is he trying to get my attention? I think Chiquis was there too, right?
Yes.
And, but I clearly felt somebody grab my leg. Like, clearly I felt them grab my leg.
So you're sitting in a chair, blindfolded, which sounds the beginning of a freaking Pornhub video.
Literally. Surrounded by everyone.
Surrounded by everyone in the dark.
Giving me commands.
And then you feel people grabbing you.
Yeah, and then I literally felt somebody pulling me. And I was like, why is he pulling me to go this way, But that place, I think a lot of it has to do with those mirrors.
Yeah.
I think
because we caught some stuff there on camera.
I think mirrors are a vortex. Yeah. And I think that when they're really old, they haven't been moved. I think a lot of stuff had to do with the mirrors. And I think that there are a lot of places in that area of Los Angeles that are haunted. Those buildings have been around for a long time.
Yeah, especially around there. That's a very old area. I mean, that was an area, too, where they collected a lot of the Japanese Americans and also immigrants that were there before they shipped them off to encampments here in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, that was the area where they were picked up. So you could feel like, I mean, all that emotion is still, I'm sure, lingers around there.
And then
everywhere.
And then you as like an investigator or like a psychic on those things, you kind of have to, well, as a psychic, you have to believe in what's guiding you, because I think I talked to the owner and I was like, hey, I see a bunch of like sewing machines. And he was like, no, it's never been a sewing place. And I was like, but I see a bunch of sewing machines. And then later he was like, you know what, you're right. We did rent it out to a bunch of seamstress. They used to come and sew parachutes.
Wow.
And he was like, I just want to tell you were right. And I was like, oh, okay, thank you. But I think that I also think it's very funny when we all go together because everybody has a different perspective. Like Martin's like, fucking spook me. Let's go. And then, and then everybody kind of brings something to it. So I'm sure we do it again. It'll be fun.
Yeah, we want to go back there.
So France, I was looking forward to cocktails. And when I realized, no, we're not doing cocktails. We're just doing ghosts. I mean, cocktails are called spirits in a lot of places, so maybe we do spirits.
But things like when I planted in Texas, we're doing fucking cocktails, okay?
We're drinking spirits and talking to spirits, guys.
That's a good Thursday night. People would buy tickets to that.
Oh, spirits.
Yeah, you're like, come and have a spirit, talk to some spirits. Maybe we'll tell you about your spirits. That'd be fucking worth. I'd buy a ticket to that shit.
I'd buy a ticket for sure.
But what do you have going on, Martin? Mm-hmm. Where should people? Where are you next, Martin?
Actually, we're doing a little Texas run this coming week, so I'll be home. We're out in Austin. I think Beaumont and
In San Antonio. You're in
Corpus
San Antonio.
Christi. No, not San Antonio. Corpus
Oh,
Christi.
no, not
Oh yeah,
San
then I'm doing
Antonio.
San Antonio. I'm doing the LOL Club. I'm doing it once a month there,
Nice.
on a Tuesday night. And dude, it's a fun club. Shows there. I'm doing Tuesday shows there with Hooter and a bunch of other comedians.
Very cool.
Steve Trevino crashed the last one. So
Okay.
comics and then comics that are in from out of town come in and crashed it. So we're doing another one on the 15th, another one in November and December. I'm heading back to Chicago for Halloween. I'm doing a show over at Otto's. We sold out one, so we added a late night one.
At Estrella?
Such a, we just go there and we just party and have fun. And then from there to Iowa. So I'm doing a show in Iowa City on the 1st of November. And I'll be home for the Day of the Dead, and I'll have my altar there for all my muertos and things.
Very nice.
And so, I'm just looking forward to the holidays. I will have some time at home, so I'm really looking forward to that. We're still, so like getting everything put together. We don't want to rush things because we want it to be the stuff that we want in place where it
Yeah.
is. We're doing some things to the pad, but yeah, it's coming along, and spending a lot of time with the grandkids when I'm home, with my grandkids when I'm home. So that's pretty cool. It's not, before they used to be, doesn't sound like a lot, but an hour and a half in traffic is a long way to travel, and then an hour back. Just getting in and out of Santa Monica was a bear. You got to get to get to anywhere. I mean, that just to get out of there a lot of times was 40 minutes, 45 minutes. And now you're on the freeway that you need to be on to head to wherever the hell you're going to go. So
do that every day now. Yeah.
Literally.
So,
have
I'll have people that will send me, how like you Google, you put your directions in on the map, and then it'll be all red the whole way, and it'll tell you. So people will send me screenshots and like, do you miss this? And I just kind of laugh because fuck no, I don't. Like that's
funny.
It's and I've been a couple of times because we're flying the next day, especially when we do international or in Canada. So it's easier for me to fly there and then get on the private plane with everybody else. So I've been in Long Beach maybe twice just for a couple hours. And
that was a flex. Okay,
yeah.
That was a flex. Let me get on the private phone. And avoid your traffic, you peasants.
Yeah.
That's,
in other words, that was a translation.
I'm just showing what happens, but yeah, I guess it does sound like a flex that say to get on the private plane.
No, it's a major flex, and I'm sure parking is never an issue in New Brunswick.
Yeah. For my private plane, that's all there. I just happen to be riding on the private plane. So don't get it twisted. It's not like I have private plane budgets, my tickets on Southwest, mija.
I like to give Martin shit. Like when he tells me things, I'm like, I know there is a certain lifestyle you have become accustomed to. I know.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
But
that's fair.
That's fucking funny. Tammy and I are going to go see you, but we're not going to fly private. So
no.
Don't give a shit. We're just going to fly JetBlue. I'm just
yeah, let's I gotta look at that when I'm here. We can let's plan something out. You guys can come out and we'll hang out and we'll go look for freaking espantos out here.
No, yes, I would definitely love that. We need to go ghost hunting around there, go visit the caves and see like what cryptids are around there too.
In Spanish, the word for ghost would be espanto, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. There's another one. I thought Phantasmas, yeah.
Phantasm.
Yeah.
But espanto means to scare, right? Or someone who scares.
Who scared? Yeah.
You scared me. So you got espantado by an espanto. So it doesn't have to be a dead person that scares you. It's somebody that just scares. I just think it's crazy that that's what they name these things, because anytime you hear that there's a ghost, the normal person gets scared and doesn't want to go. You crazies set up freaking,
Not us. We're ready. I think I'm going to try to post. Well, by the time we post this, Tammy and I would have already done the the investigation at the Rainbow Room with Ansley from Spooky Foodie. We'll be there on Friday. And we're going to go see what we see. And hopefully we'll see a lot of spooky stuff.
Yes. So hopefully, yeah, I'm sure you're going to pick up on a lot of things there. I did definitely when I went there, oh my God, months ago. But yeah, Spooky Foodie and Zachariah the Witch are friends. I mean, they've been investigating and working with the people at the Rainbow Bar and Grill off of Sunset. And we also did the investigation at the Whiskey a Go-Go. And they all of them, all those people there, they work in unison. They work in the same, like they go and do a couple hours at Whiskey and then they transfer to the Rainbow. So they have a lot of stories that coincide with other workers. But it's going to be a fantastic dinner, drinks, and ghosts. Thanya and I are going to be working, I think it's on the second level by a staircase where people have seen some weird things happen. So yeah, it's going to be pretty interesting.
It's going to be fun, but
yeah,
freaking awesome. I gotta figure out when it's a good time for me to go meet up with you guys and do something like that, or we can just go to a destination place and I'll meet up somewhere and freaking do some more.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that'll be fun. We'll plan. Oh yeah, we could go to San Antonio. We'll plan it out. I'm gonna see if I find any places when I'm there.
All right.
There's a ton of places in San Antonio. But I guess we're coming to a close, guys. Thank you so much for, meeting up with me and us like having a good chit chat about Santeria, about ghosts, a little bit of politics, and gender revealing ghosts. I guess you could say.
Revealing ghosts.
Martin's low-key lifestyle.
Yeah, this is low-key lifestyle.
His
humbleness. Living, in paradise without having to deal with traffic here. One thing he doesn't miss, the culture of LA, which is traffic.
Yeah, that is part of the culture for sure.
Where can people find you guys on social media? Where can they stalk you?
Martin Comic on all my places, and then Moreno.com. I mostly post on social media. It's always on Instagram, and that's Martin Comic. That's usually my go-to. I need to be more active on Facebook and Twitter. It's just, I don't know.
You're busy. What are your next, what are your upcoming tour dates again? So people can...
Texas this weekend.
Okay.
Corpus Christi and Austin. And, shit, what did I say?
Iowa. He's at the LOL. He's at the LOL
on the 15th. Of this month. I don't know if this episode will be up by then, but you can if you go on my Instagram, Martin Comic, you'll find my dates on my link on my bio. It's usually where everybody puts their stuff up now. It's on their bio link. But dude, thank you again for hosting this, Tammy, because
thanks, Tammy.
Let me know. Yeah, I love doing this. Let's do it again, please. We'll do it some more.
Yeah,
for sure.
That'd be great. It's so crazy that it's at the touch of a button we're able to have all three of us putting this together. It's it's a freaking future.
We
really are. And that's again, thank you for making it. I really
no problem.
Thanks, Tammy. Thank you, Tammy, so much. On Instagram, I'm Thanya Che on Instagram, and then I have Ashe Imports. I'm Thanya Che on TikTok. I try not to go on there tomorrow. To Madrina Che? Thanya Madrina?
Madrina T, Madrina Thanya.
Something, no? I'm gonna think about it. I'm trying to be more present on the Thanya Che one and talk about like different spiritualities instead of the jewelry page. So you guys can find me there for readings, etc. I'm not on tour right now, but I will be in 3 different states in the next 3 weeks.
So
you can message me. You can message me for a reading, or if you have questions about Santeria, Palo Mayombe, spiritualism, I'm always open to chat.
Yes, and I'll put everybody's link on our post for Instagram. Of course, you can find Hollyweird Paranormal on Instagram and Facebook. You can follow my personal journey on TikTok under Haunted LA Girl. And as of right now, Bryson and myself, I think we finally locked a date, November 3rd at 1984 Vintage for our live show. We're going to be talking about this haunted city of San Fernando. We'll be having a special guest who will be sharing some more ghost stories. So guys, you definitely want to come and check out the Small Business of 1984. If you love vintage horror, you love Mike Myers, Gremlins, and all the 80s icons of horror, you're going to love this place. And if you want to come by and shop, the place will be open an hour extra for you guys to browse around and do some shopping and stuff. So yes, guys, we'll be posting more information very, very soon. But thank you guys so much. And I guess stay weird and stay
weird and stay magical.
Stay magical.
Yes, stay weird and stay magical. Yes. Bye, guys. And thank you so much. Till next time.